air permitting, so whether it be upstream for small tank batteries or larger gathering facilities for oil and gas clients, and that's for state and federal regulations, as well as their reporting. So there's different reports that they have to generate, Quado reports, greenhouse gas reports, maintenance, startup, and shutdown, or MSSS reports. So I've helped in compiling those reports and all the data associated with them. Take it project to project. So for a tank battery, say I want to get all the data. So we have forms that we use, we supply to the clients, and they'll fill out the forms. Usually someone in the field working at the facility will. So they'll enter all the data in, and then we have to get a sample. So either it's going to be a representative sample, so that's something that's similar in size, coming out of the same geologic formation, or we'll take a sample at the actual facility. And so then we use all the data we gathered along with the samples, and then we apply the standards, and the formulas that are prescribed in order to calculate the emissions. And then based off of the data that we generate, we determine what type of permit they're going to need. So primarily I've worked in Texas, and so for the smaller facilities it's either going to be a permit by rule or it's going to be a standard permit. But the larger facilities you can get up into Title V status. Basically what happens usually is if it's a new facility that a client is going to actually go out and they're going to drill and complete the well, they're aware of all the regulations ahead of time, and so they're usually will seek a consultant out like Sage in order to make sure that they're in compliance with a number of regulations. But what I focus on is the air portion, and so based off of that information, then we'll go through the data on the how-to. So we'll ask a series of questions and go through all the different data points that we'll need in order to make a determination on how large the facility is really in terms of emissions. And some of the different aspects that could come into play is if it has an engine or a compressor, how big is that, as well as if it's a sour site, so if it's handling gas that has H2S levels in it. So different variables like that are going to come into play, but usually that's ahead of time. But then there's other times whenever clients maybe go through acquisitions and purchase a whole bunch of wells, and so then we'll go through the process of doing basically a research analysis on each facility to see if it is permitted, does it need to be permitted. Aside from the permitting, are there any other reporting requirements that are required? Are they being done, yes or no, and then putting together reports for that.